my success doesn't matter to you
Right.
unless we're celebrating and
Yeah.
congratulating each other and lifting each other up. The nitty gritty doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And it's not there for comparison. If I want to
Yes.
post something that I'm looking for some, that's a win in my world, it's a win in my world.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a win in anybody else's world. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
not yours. But when you post something that's a win in your world, I want to celebrate that too. And that's what I think we need to stay focused on, is that
Yes.
don't use those posts as bait. Don't use them as traps. Use it as awesome. That's so wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And move on.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Mom Does It All. If you're looking for encouragement, empowerment, and uplifting in motherhood and mompreneurship, this is a show for you. I'm your host, Marta Spurk, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. On this episode, I talked to business strategist Michelle DeNio. She shares a little bit about her story and how she started as an entrepreneur, and also warns us against the traps the online world has and gives us some pretty insightful tips on how to stay away from them. Let's get right to it. Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes, I am so excited to talk to you. So I met Michelle through a friend, through another online business owner friend who recommended her as a business strategist. And I had the pleasure of having a few sessions with her over the summer, and it was very, very eye-opening for me in so many ways. She's helped me with a different direction, a different perspective in my business. And I just told her, we have to share this. We have to talk about this publicly because I feel like it's not talked about enough. But before we jump into all of that, I want you to share with us how you got started as a business strategist, where all of this comes from, and a little bit about your story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure working with you. I love absolutely seeing your growth, so I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that as well. But yeah, my journey to entrepreneurship and business ownership, I think, is a little bit different than probably most. It really started with a very personal side of life, and my husband and I just deciding that we really just wanted something different for our lives. We lived in upstate New York. It's cold, it's winter all the time, and we really just didn't enjoy that. There was nothing about life that we enjoyed. And then we had a really dear friend pass away after like a very short battle with lymphoma. And we really kind of looked at ourselves and thought, you know what, if life is so short, is this what we want to be doing? And the answer was not a resounding yes. And so we up and left and moved to Florida, and sight unseen. And we just, through my journey in being in Florida and getting jobs, I went from a very corporate, very elite position, executive type position, to kind of back to data entry. And I was really feeling like I'm not using my brain. And so I started working just alongside, doing a lot of networking, and realizing that I was giving in these coffee connections that I was doing with people through networking. I was giving a lot of marketing advice or saying, hey, how about this? Or I would try this. And realizing after finally that what I was essentially doing was coaching, just doing it, through coffee connections or quote unquote networking. So anyways, long story short, my business started in July of 2016. When I took it full time, and it's evolved over, the past 3 years. And so really getting into that whole entire business strategy. My background is in operations, accounting, management, leadership, sales. So there's a lot of different aspects of it. And all of that really kind of plays a role in business strategy, whether you're in the corporate world or the online space. And so I think a lot of people are missing the operational side of business when they get into the online space. It's easy to fall into all these other traps. And so that's where I kind of came into the market a little bit.
And I do want to talk about the traps. That's like the very thing I want us to talk about. But going back to the reason why you decided to become an entrepreneur and to have your own business, because that's something that we talked about before we started recording too. It was the idea of enjoying life, right? I don't like what's going on, so I'm going to make a change. And I feel like most of us go through this process, right? I hate what I'm doing right now, so I'm going to start a business so that I can actually love what I'm doing. But it doesn't always happen. You end up getting even more stressed because you have all of the time, but in reality, you don't have that much time for all the things that you need to do. And you end up, getting overwhelmed with so many things, especially when we talk online, because that's one thing that I want us to focus on is how crazy this online space is and how frustrating it can be, especially when you start comparing yourself to other people. So what can you say about that?
Yeah, well, for me, it's, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, part of the reason and the beauty of being an entrepreneur is exactly that, to love life, to define life on your terms.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden we get into the online space and we become this person that we never imagined being, and it's like this constant struggle to, I've got to do this, but I hate doing it. And so I can't even tell you the amount of times somebody has said to me or myself, like, why am I doing this? Because somebody said I should be doing this, or, how many countless people that said, well, I'm on Facebook Live, but I hate it. I don't want to be. And quite honestly, they're not that good at it. So it's like, if it's not in alignment with what you want to do, if it's not how you deliver information, if it's not how you speak, if it's not how you would normally do things in your everyday life, it's never going to resonate in the online space either, because it's never going to feel authentic. It's never going to feel like you. It's a really hard place to be. And so for me, I always have to kind of keep myself in check and try to keep my clients in check in the sense of, why are you an entrepreneur? Why did you start doing this? What was your reason behind being an entrepreneur? Because if you want to be told what to do, when to do it, go get a job. Get off the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, of up and down. And, with a job, it's a very steady paycheck. And quite honestly, in some ways, it's the same limiting factors that we put on ourselves. We just don't think we're putting them on ourselves because we're an entrepreneur.
And it all goes back to you really understanding what moment you are in your life and what fits the best, because it's just so easy to get caught up on what everybody else is doing. And then you think, well, this is what I should be doing now. But then you're not authentic to yourself. And that's another thing that I wanted us to talk about, because it's something that you helped me in seeing when I decided to start reaching out to the Brazilian audience as well. And usually it was something that you're resisting and they're not wanting to go there, because I was thinking, no, but I have to do this. But who's telling you that you have to do this? And then you get caught up in all the other trainings and all the other people that are, that you may find online that tell you have to do Facebook Lives to advance in your business. Yeah, that's a great strategy. But again, it might not work for everybody. And it really depends on the audience. It really depends on your goals. It depends on so many factors that if you just follow what somebody else is doing, it might not work for you and the moment that you're going through. So tell us more about this authenticity, and how can we find what is authentic to us?
Well, everybody has something that's unique about them. It's not to say there's not another 5,000 business strategists in the online space, or business coaches, or mompreneurs, or anything like that. But even like using your example, is that you have this audience, you had an audience that was ready and waiting and begging for you to give them more information. Yet it wasn't the audience that when people say defining your niche or whatever. And so you've defined your niche and you get stuck in this trap of, nope, this was my niche. This is who I'm going to serve. And that's it. When you close off. And so I think for me, it's like looking at who's asking you for help, who's coming to you, and why are they coming to you? What is making you unique? And there's always something that makes somebody unique in their own way that a lot of times we push to the back burner because we think, well, I don't want to show my uniqueness. I want to do what everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is that unique, authentic piece about you that is going to set you apart. And when you can live in that place and you can speak from that place in your heart, your world changes in the online, your world changes in business, your world changes in life, and things just start to fall into place so much better. And really, it makes you happy. Again, it's
Yeah.
about living and enjoying life, right? Being happy. How can we be happy? And so what is it that makes you unique? For you, it was your Brazilian audience. You know, for me, it's the sense that maybe that I work more in smaller bites session, break it down in smaller pieces. You know, for somebody else, it might be that she's a web designer, but she also provides the copy. That's very different in the uniques. You know, usually you have to hire both. So when you're talking, it's finding that unique piece about yourself, like and it usually ties back to why you started this, why you wanted to be an entrepreneur, what made you decide that you wanted to do this. And so finding that, you know, authenticity is a word people even use all the time in the online space, but what does it really mean? So a different way for me to look at it is like, what is it about you that makes you unique? How do you approach from a different angle? If you can think of it that way, like what is the angle that you're coming in at that someone, you know, somebody else isn't? And don't be afraid to put it out there. Don't feel like you have to stifle it or cover it up or hide it from the world, because quite honestly, that's probably your ticket.
Yes. And we usually are afraid because we don't want, you know, to be rejected. It's just so crazy how the whole business side of things and entrepreneurship is so much like dating. I've heard so many people talk about that, and it seems funny and it makes sense. But when you really, really look into it, it's like, it's totally it, because you want to be likable. You want people to accept you. But at the end of the day, if that doesn't bring you in money and clients, it doesn't matter. You might as well be yourself, because that should be easier than faking into being somebody else anyways. So it's just crazy, the trap that we put ourselves in. And I wanted us to talk about the traps now, because I remember once you made a post that I really, really loved that said, I made, I don't know, it was a crazy number in the last month. Like that was my income for the month. And then, you know, before you start congratulating me, you said, you don't know how much, how many expenses I had. You don't know, you know, so it's very elusive when people see that kind of post and they're like, oh my gosh, I must be a failure because so-and-so just made a bunch of money and they started yesterday. And then you just get down on yourself, and it's that roller coaster, entrepreneurial roller coaster you were just talking about. So tell us more about that post and what is all behind that.
Yeah. So the post actually was, I think in July, I posted that I had exceeded my 2018 income as of July 7th or something like that. It was a date. I can't remember the exact date, but then I went on to say, but you have, you know, here's all the things I didn't tell you. So I could have just posted like, I have officially exceeded my income. And our initial reaction probably would have been like, oh my God, she just made six figures, or she just hit a 6-figure banner year, you know. But the thing about it is I didn't tell you what my 2018 income was. You know, I didn't tell you if I took 10 months off in 2018 and I made $2,000 and I just hit it. You know, I didn't tell you how much money I spent to make the money I made today. I didn't tell you how many hours I spent behind that. You know, I'm an accounting background. So for me, and it's funny because I was just on a webinar the other day, and this lady posted about how she's made $275,000 in 4 months, and she's been using this figure. And so, of course, it's drew in a lot of traffic. And then she did give some of her figures, like she made, you know, she spent like, I think like 150 of it in ad budget.
Wow.
So it dropped that down, but still, she didn't talk about the software cost, the graphic design cost, the digital marketing cost, you know, all these other, there were so many other pieces. So still her numbers were very inflated because she's still not telling you all of, and you know what, the reality is we don't have to, but that's the whole point. We don't have to divulge all of our financial information. We don't have to give every waking minute of our lives as entrepreneurs, but yet in the online space, all of a sudden people feel like they need to tell you every waking last thing they've done. But it's really not, you know, it's what they want you to see. And that's what's really very important here is, you know, I talk a lot about marketing yourself on Facebook and using, and everybody says, I don't want everybody to be in my life. Here's the thing. you can put on Facebook whatever you want people to see. Everybody thinks they know all about my life. If you go on my Facebook page, my personal page, most of it's public, and you're going to think you know everything about me. But you know what I want you to know about me. And then all of a sudden I'll get in a conversation with somebody and they'll say, oh my God, I had no idea. It's like, right. Because I didn't want you to know. You're seeing what I want you to see. And we can do that in a very real way, or we can do that in a very like overinflated, extreme way. And so this really falls into this, like, well, I've got 10,000 followers and I should be converting, 50% of them, or I've got this. And, I don't care how many followers anybody has. I don't care how big their email list is. I really don't. And I want other people to understand that too, because I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen a post or seen something or gotten on the phone with somebody thinking, oh my gosh, this person is totally killing it. And you get on the phone with them. I just saw a post yesterday of somebody I thought is totally killing it. And then she posted, like, let's just say you're really struggling to get clients and your list is fairly small. And, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have really thought you were killing it based on what I'm seeing, and so you really never know. And that's the thing. And even if somebody has a good month, but the reality is it doesn't matter. None of it matters. My success doesn't matter to you unless we're celebrating and congratulating each other and lifting each other up. The nitty gritty doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And it's not there for comparison. If I want to post something that I'm looking for some, that's a win in my world, it's a win in my world. It doesn't need to be a win in anybody else's world. It's mine. It's not yours. But when you post something that's a win in your world, I want to celebrate that too. And that's what I think we need to stay focused on, is that don't use those posts as bait. Don't use them as traps. Use it as awesome. That's so wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And move on. And move on and create your own success.
And that's not always easy to do. And we were just talking about that too, because I talk a lot about this deceit online in terms of like mom life, that you start comparing yourself to other moms and thinking my life is miserable because my life is not like hers. And I encourage women to understand that that's not all of it. We're not seeing all of it. So stop comparing, because you're not seeing all of it and it doesn't matter. You can be happy for them and it is what it is. And it's the same thing in the business world too. You see someone singing their own praises and talking about how successful they are. It's not that we're supposed to feel jealous or to think that they're lying, but we have to understand that we're not seeing it all. And it's their own journey. It doesn't matter. Even if we were living exactly what they were living, that's not to say that we would be happy, because it's not us. So we would never know. So why do we waste our time scrolling through thinking? And I just posted a quote the other day that you resonated with that I loved so much. Somebody saying, stop feeling like you're failing and looking at your friend's test, because she probably has a different test, a different paper. And it's so true, because our lives are unique. We go through different stuff. We have different families, different spouses, different circumstances. And the online space kind of forces us almost to forget that. And it's just so easy for us to compare and feel miserable about what we're going through. And again, it's not like, I feel like it's the pressure of that we should be sharing everything, but it's impossible. Exactly. Otherwise, we would literally not go to the bathroom.
Well, exactly. There's that. And the thing about it is that everybody's definition of success is different. And I want you guys, if I could share, like, that is my message to the world, is that everybody's idea of success is different. My idea of success is working 20 hours a month, paying my bills, enjoying my life, sitting on the beach, enjoying my pool, enjoying and living retirement, because I've seen so many friends that have not been able to enjoy, quote unquote, the textbook retired life. And so I don't want to wait until I'm this set age at this set. I want to live my retirement. That's my definition of success. Other people's definition of success is having 6 houses and 5 rental properties and whatever, everybody's definition of success is different. And so also stop with the, like, what is your revenue goal? Or, yes, business runs on numbers. We all know that. You've got to be, if you are a business owner, you need to be making revenue. You can't argue that. And you can't also you can't feel guilty about it either.
Right.
That's another thing that the online space makes you feel guilty about, the fact that you charge for your services, or you're not going to let somebody pick your brain. Well, you know what? We're not doing this to give our services away.
Yeah.
If we were, it wouldn't be a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't feel guilty about charging it, but also don't feel like it's the only determining factor to your success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just so crazy that it's like the online space changes our perception of reality. It really is, right? Because you might have your definition of success, then you start looking at other people and you're like, maybe that's not what success means to me. I want what she has, right? And then it's not. And so you keep chasing after something that it's not what it really feels authentic to you, going back to authenticity. And that's why we just get so frustrated, because we really lose ourselves in this process. And one last thing I wanted to ask you, because with all of the stuff that we're talking about, it kind of makes me think about network marketing, because that's how I got started. And a lot of the things that have happened to me in this process kind of bring me back to that. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to ask you what you think if network marketing kind of created this illusion, because I remember when I started, it was something that was encouraged for me to do, is to say, I love this opportunity. Look what it's doing for me. And it wasn't really doing anything yet because I had just started. So it was a little bit of a deceit from the beginning. Do you think that network marketing kind of created this, or is it just, the natural progression of things when you're talking about these things?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I'm a huge fan of network marketing in a sense. I love to support the products that come through the network marketing space. 90% of my household products come through the network marketing space. I really love what network marketing has done for a lot of people. However, there are certain things I do believe that are being taught that are so slimy, so spammy, so inauthentic, exactly that, because it's like, oh, I just pay, I sit home and work from my phone and pay my bills. No, you don't. I mean, there's very few people that do. You may make some money here or there. I do think there are some network marketing companies out there who have absolutely nailed it, but I do think that there's others that really encourage this social presence that is, I actually laugh because I have a friend who just joined network marketing, and in all her pictures, she looks so pretty, and she's a beautiful woman to begin with, absolutely stunning. One of my good friends, and she finally posted a picture, and she was like, "I bought this filter on Etsy." I've never heard anything of you bought a filter on Etsy that puts your full face of makeup on and makes her skin look just absolutely, I mean, it's a full-on filter that does her makeup and everything perfect. And I just thought to myself, how sad is that, that you joined a network marketing company, you put yourself on social media, and you only put yourself on social media with a filter that you bought on. Now, I mean, I love filters. I think that they're hilarious. I use them all the time. But the fact that you're only posting a picture if you put this filter on it with this full on, to me is, and I just think, and so, yes, I do think that there's a side of the network marketing space that, is teaching this cold marketing. If you're going to reach out to somebody, check and see what's going on with their life before you just reach out and ask them if they want a product. It really does. I do think that it definitely has contributed. I don't think it's the only thing. I think there's a lot of contributing factors to it. And a lot of it just comes down to keeping up with the Joneses. It's no different than, it's just that the online space, this has all been happening. Yeah. It's just that the online space gives us so much more access to it.
Yeah, it magnifies all of the dirty things that human beings go through already. So tell us more. It
can be a beautiful space too, though. Yeah. And I want to, close with that, is that, I've met the most amazing friends through the online space, amazing clients. And so the online space is what you make of it, and use it to your advantage and use it to enhance your life and not bring it down. And if it is bringing your life down, reevaluate and figure out why.
Yes, exactly. It's not a matter of keep doing it, something that makes you feel bad. Just reevaluate and see if it's just sucking the life out of me, then something's not right. I have to make a change. And that's great, because I usually like to end asking for a little piece of advice, but let's backtrack just a little bit before
I'm
we
sorry.
close. That's okay. I wanted to ask you, how is it to work with you? Because you said bite-sized and you have a specific strategy that's a little bit different from most people out there. So tell us how that works.
Yeah. So I work, my most popular package and the one that I love the most is, I call them Get Your Biz Unstuck sessions. And so that's exactly what they are. They're designed to get your business unstuck, similar to what we did with you. Or they're just one-off sessions. Well, they're 3 months, like one session per month or 2 sessions per month. And really just designed to figure out what's working, what's not working, where do you want to go? And they're there to help be of support, be of guidance, put an action plan in place, because a lot of times we're trying to implement something that is so vast and so broad and so large that when we need to break it down, like, this is the only thing you need to be doing this week. This is the only thing you need to be doing this week. And those sessions really give us that opportunity because they're super laser focused on exactly what's happening in your business and how are we working to get there. So we're looking at the bigger vision, but what is the step we need to be working on right now? And so I have seen great success with those, and versus the longer term. It's not to say I have a long-term package if somebody's looking for that, but quite honestly, most entrepreneurs don't need that. They think they need it, but they really don't. You really don't. You know what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know what you need to do. And if I can just help get you past that point of stuck, that's what I want to do, because the passion's inside of you, not me, not any other coach. We are here to guide and give you that direction. And so that's what, get your biz unstuck. If you're feeling stuck, the sessions, they're 60-minute sessions, and it's a 3-month commitment.
Yes. And I love that you said you already know what you need to do. And it's just a matter of having some extra guidance and also the permission, because that was a big one for me too. Having somebody else tell me, like, why are you not doing this? Stop. Stop getting in your own way. So
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. Which is most of the time the problem.
Most of the time. Exactly. Well, thank you so much. This was so great. I can't wait to listen to it all over again, because I feel like this is a reminder that every entrepreneur should listen to every day. Like, stop when you're scrolling. Make sure you're not falling into the trap.
Off of it. Exactly.
Yes.
You know what? Get yourself off of it. There's apps that block it. I block it now on my phone from like 10 to 4 because I don't need it. It's just bringing noise to your space. So do it. Just do you. Focus on you. Focus on what makes you happy. And if it doesn't make you happy, figure out why. Figure out what it is that's not making you happy, and go back.
Make a change. That's right. All right. Well, how can we find you?
Facebook is primarily where I hang out, for sure. Both my personal page and my business page are my name. You can join my group, find the right clients for your business. So either way, but yeah, I'm pretty much only on Facebook. I dabble a little bit with Instagram and LinkedIn, but Facebook's definitely where I hang out.
All right. Come find Michelle. She's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Tell me, have you been a victim of the traps of the online world too? Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, I know it's easy to fall into the comparison game and some of the negativity that social media can bring. But you heard Michelle. Just got to check back in with yourself and make sure whatever it is that you're doing is serving you well. Don't forget to connect with her. All the links are in the show notes. And if you're local to Denver, don't miss my in-person event for women, the Empowered Woman Workshop. It'll be December 10th at 9:30 a.m. More info in the show notes as well. Until next time, bye.